Hey, what's up everybody? Bro Trio here, and we are finally capping off our last video talking about 2023 with our top 10 bosses. What better way to end something than talking about the best bosses? Because normally, typically, bosses are at the end of a chapter, end of a game, and they are a good, like, exclamation point to a good one. I mean, they can be bad, and then it's just a period or 3 dots or something, but...
Yeah.
These are the best ones of 2023. Now, obviously, 2023 was jam-packed, full of games and everything. And all those games were jam-packed, full of bosses. So, in order to get, like, the definitive Bro Trio list, the way we do things here is we each make a list of 15 items, rank those with value points, and then aggregate the mean or average of our own list to come up with the Bro Trio's top 10. So we all have our individual lists, average them out, and this is how it is. If you watched our top 10 games of 2023 video, we talked about it there, but we all played like radically different games this year, and that kind of translated into bosses. And to give y'all some insight into how the Bro Trio plans these things is we kind of make it like a PowerPoint presentation where we're just like, alright, this boss from Final Fantasy 16, here's what's cool about it. And then Aaron's just like, yeah, but this boss from Dead Cells for the 15th year in a row.
So many Dead Cells.
And we judge them based off that, and like, if I played that game, how would I rate it, and stuff like that. But that's enough talking about it. Let's get into the action. Obviously, spoilers are abound since we're talking about bosses, so if you don't want to get spoiled for some games, go away once you hear us talk about the title.
Starting off at number 10, the reason this one's so low is because I'm the only one that played Baldur's Gate, and it's not exactly a boss that you can show a video of on YouTube and make it look cool. Because of how Baldur's Gate 3 plays.
We ran into this last year with Aaron with triangle strategy.
Yeah.
Like, that does not translate
not
well.
All. So, Raphael from Baldur's Gate 3 was my pick for the best boss from Baldur's Gate 3 because everything leading up to it, from when he introduces yourself at the beginning and gives the speech about like the cat and mouse game and like down comes the claw and stuff like that. It's a little poem he reads you. It's like a threat or whatever. Trying to make a deal with you the whole time, and then if you manage to break into his house in one of the 9 hells and can start stealing the Orphic hammer to release, I forget the guy's name, but to release the guy from the prism to become I don't know. It was a lot. But if you break into his house, basically he's like, you have no manners, I'm just gonna kill you now. And then he starts singing his own theme song, and you start fighting. And that's honestly probably why they gave him as many points as they did, because
it also keeps with our trend of our number 10 boss every year is normally like some unconventional boss.
Yeah, I think there's been one that hasn't been. But...
And he's a conventional boss, but singing your own theme song is definitely unconventional.
And he's canonically singing it, because supposedly you can cast silence on him, and then the song has no lyrics.
The only other one I could think of that does that is that lump of shit from Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh, actual lump of shit. So, I mean, Ursula, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Ursula does sing her own song.
But,
right.
No, because of the lead up to him, and his flair for drama, and literally singing his own song, and it's like my favorite song from the game, and honestly, the tactics were really cool, because he had these, like, pillars that he would suck souls out of and beef up his attacks and could, like, kill certain party members in one shot, and multiple if you were clustered together. Like, at least with mine, like, he kept downing my cleric constantly. But that is why I rated him so highly on my personal list, because the fight with Raphael was dramatic, awesome, and exemplified pretty much all that I loved about Baldur's Gate 3.
We mentioned it earlier, and this is where Dead Cells comes in. At number 9, because Dracula is a hell of a boss fight.
It looked so fun.
Like, Every year, Dead Cells like clockwork comes in and gives me an awesome boss to fight, and I have to get it on this list because they're great.
It's almost
And-
tradition at this point. I think he's missed a year or two, but
It might have been,
it's
yeah.
not been much.
Dead Cells. But Dracula is a new final boss for the game, and it was a doozy because, like, Death was a pretty fun boss fight, but he was similar to the Scarecrow. And then Medusa was just like a stage boss, and that sucked. Like, I never got past Medusa without getting hurt. And then you finally get to Dracula after all the taunting and stuff, because in his, I don't know if I told you guys this, but in his final stage, he shows up sometimes to taunt you.
Oh, really?
He's
That's
just like, you will never make it to me. You suck, and stuff like that.
If you die, is he like, I told you, or anything?
He might laugh, I think, if he
Aw.
kills you, because he could kill you. Some of the
How's that?
stuff, or like sometimes he'll like reverse the controls
Oh, cool.
or flip the stage
that's
So
upside
you're just
down.
messing with you.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the
my.
worst mechanic in any game ever, though. Like, why would you?
But then
do
you
that?
finally get up to fight him, and he's holding his wine glass like in Castlevania, and gets mad and throws it on the ground. And then just
Man tells too many
come-
secrets, or whatever the hell the line is.
yeah, the pile of secrets.
Oh, yeah,
Miserable
pile of
of
secrets.
secrets.
I was close.
And then he just unleashes himself upon you because he comes in. It's human form first. He has two phases. The first one, like at the very beginning of the fight, you think it's going to be easy because he's like standing there and sending fireballs and bats at you. Then he starts teleporting, and that gets even harder. And then he starts teleporting behind you, and if he grabs you, he's going to bite you and drain your health and heal himself.
Oh, vampire.
And that keeps happening, and you just have to dodge and fight, just like chipping away at him as much as you can.
Do you
and
even
then-
have blood? Because, like, your head's a fire.
Yeah, aren't you a ghost?
You bleed when you get cut.
Oh.
Maybe
I don't
you're
know,
a zombie.
it's weird, yeah. And then you beat that for him, and he's just like, alright, let's do this. And he flies up in the air, and then comes back in as like a big demon bat thing. Tears his castle apart while you're fighting him, and just starts doing mouth lasers and ground pounds, and like the fire from underneath is like coming up to burn you. It was a very, very hard boss fight. I actually had to tone down the difficulty because I tried to fight him at boss cell 4. No, I had to put it down to 2 before I could actually get past him. And that was a great boss fight and really entertaining because, like, I don't know. I don't really know that much about Castlevania, but the way they do Dracula is the way Dracula should be done.
Well, Aaron mentioned Medusa earlier, but here I'm talking about Medusa from Sea of Stars. Medusa is not like a huge boss in the lore of the game. Like, you think Sea of Stars, you want to talk about the final boss, you think I might be like, yeah, the Fleshmancer, or whatever
hate
the
it.
hell your mentor that gets possessed and turned into a monster is. No, none of the final bosses are as good as Medusa was to me. Because, one, Sea of Stars, all the bosses are like a spectacle to look at, but Medusa especially. Because, like, it's really cool design. You find this big-ass robot head in Futureland. It's one of the first big fights in Futureland. And
Is that what it's called?
no.
Okay.
I don't even know if it has another name. It's just another world. But Medusa is one of the big fights when you get there. And it's really cool. It's just this head, mechanical head, with a bunch of tentacles. And then they'll do, like, plug into something. And then they get, like, the Sea of Star lock. So you got to hit it with different elements to knock that attack out before it does something. And then it can be like red, green, blue, or purple. And red is just an attack. It's okay. It's not that great. Green is heal. Purple is a heavy attack. And blue is a heavy attack. Medusa has 4 of these tentacles. And oftentimes, all 4 will plug in at once. So then you have to take out so many locks. You can't do them all. So you have to pick and choose which ones to do. So based off your health, you're just like, am I going to pick the attack to knock out, or do I knock out the heal so the boss doesn't heal itself? it was one of the most strategic game bosses in the game, and one of the hardest ones too. Like, it was one of the few bosses I died on in the game because it was very challenging, strategic as hell, and a spectacle to look at, because not only is Medusa this giant robot head, but it's got like, I think it's like a Terminator. It has like fake flesh because everything in Futureland is like biomechanical, basically.
Fleshmans.
But the more damage you do to the head, the more its face like melts off. So it starts getting a little battle damage, getting like scratches and stuff. And after like halfway through the fight, like you can see his eyelids start like slumping. You can see the muscle tissue under it. And then at the end of the fight, its face is just off, muscle time, and you're just staring at a skull, basically, to fight. And that's why it's one of my favorite bosses of the entire year.
When I was going through the bosses for Gravity Circuit, it took me a little while to figure out which one I liked the best, because a lot of them were so cool, but a lot of them just had, like, I realized, cool moments in their fight, but not necessarily the whole fight was cool.
Do they all look like shit?
No.
Okay.
But the Commander Circuit was cool the whole time. It's basically like a souped up version of Sigma from Mega Man X1, so that's also like a really cool reference, because clearly the developers they love Mega Man, and you can tell. But fighting the Commander Circuit was weird, because like it also had the battle damage thing where, like, as you were fighting it, like its eye would start breaking off, and it was one of the best head-in-hand bosses I think I've faced.
So we gotta make a second list of those if it might show up again.
Because it's like laying mines, shooting lasers out of its eyes, shooting lasers out of its hands. It's making like ground pounds attacks, and every now and then it'll bring in some enemies that is very welcome. Normally I don't like when bosses bring in minions, but that one you kind of needed it, because throwing enemies at other enemies is one of the best attacks you can do in the game. And that helped a lot with his health bar, and you earn like the special meter bonuses from killing any enemy. So killing a couple of enemies gave you another special or two that you wouldn't have had access to. Of course, like, I went the default route. I just had my heal, because it'll heal like I think a third of your health bar instead of doing an attack. That's pretty much the only special attack I used in that fight. But, and then on top of that, he's really sadistic. It's weird, because, like, the fight before him, you have to fight, Sergeant or something. I can't remember what his name is. And, you kill him, but then if you die in the fight with Commander Circuit, when you get resurrected at the last save point, he brings back that guy as a zombie, and you have to fight him again.
No.
But he's, like, his sprite's different. And it's just like, why is he doing this? And it was a really cool boss fight, and a lot of fun, and very, very difficult too, because very fast paced.
For another game that did not come out this year, we're going for one that came out last year with God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, and the final fight with Tyr was friggin' awesome. Because he uses all his legendary weapons that he got from like Egypt and the Aztecs and Japan and stuff, and they all have different powers, so you can't fully rely on what is coming next. Because like one of them blinds you, one of them, like, I don't remember, summons the undead or something. I don't remember, but they all had different powers. And one of them, he can make little like blood balls when he cuts himself and like shoot them at you, basically.
Oh wow!
He had a lot of cool attacks with these, and that is such a good combat system. It was super fun to get back into, and with the roguelike or whatever you call it nature of that mode of the game, like if he kicked your ass, you just have to get better and keep on coming back. Which normally I really don't like that game style, but it worked this time because God of War is so damn good, and getting to fight the Norse God of War in an all-out brawl like that, but like low stakes because they don't want to kill each other, was an awesome way to cap off Valhalla. Armored Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon, had a lot of cool bosses. But the one that stood out to us the most was IB0. Is that what it was?
IB0 colon CEL 240.
Yeah, I'm not
just
saying
rolls off the tongue.
It was a cool robot and a cool fight to begin with. The first form was very fun. But then when you kill it,
it like resurrects and it's juiced up on the coral now.
The coral brings it back and it's got all new attacks and it's basically a different fight now. And it kicked the ever-living shit out of me. Before that, I was rolling around with my tank legs without a care in the world because nothing could stop me. That is not good against Ibo. I'm going to call it Ibo.
Yeah, Ibo is super fast, fluid with its motions. It's got some ranged attacks, so you really want some fast legs. You want a fast build to take this thing down. Or at least something that you can dodge with. Tank legs...
Not great for that.
You literally are just sitting there to tank everything. Like, you can't move that fast with them, and that's not good. You want to high fast, high stagger damage, and then you want to capitalize on it. So that's what you got to work with. There were some harder bosses, I would say, in the game. Like, the chopper and the tutorial was very hard. Like, that... I'm sure
the Trash Man or whatever
knocked a lot
called.
of people out of the game.
Whatever
the
Trash Man was called was pretty tough. The big old thing with the heat drill or whatever in its face.
Shit, I forget what.
I like the Trash
Man. And then
Man.
obviously Balteus is a big old
absolute
bitch.
Balteus.
But Balteus sucks. It's not fun.
Balteus has a weakness also. Ibo didn't really have a straight
Ibo
weakness.
is a fun boss fight and a challenging boss fight, which is like melding the perfect meld of both of them, only the way FromSoft can. When we make these lists, it is a hard choice to pick between form and function. Do I go with the really cool looking boss fight that was just like super awesome, but not on the as challenging side? Or do I go with the one that wasn't that cool to look at, but was just super fun to play and really tested my gameplay mechanics? It's a toss-up. Final Fantasy XVI is a game that keeps on topping itself. Basically, as you might imagine, Final Fantasy XVI being all about the icons. You play as summons, you fight summons, in a big-ass kaiju fight. It's awesome. It keeps topping itself. Every single one is better than the next. You start with Garuda, that one's super fun, and then you're like, it can't get better than this. And then Titan's like, yeah, it can, I'm big now. And then, but, so...
I heard the Titan one was very much like, they hate each other.
Yes.
Like the two characters, so that's kind of cool.
The two I was really debating with, before I ended up putting a third one on here, was, do I go with the spectacle of Ifrit and Phoenix doing the fusion dance to go fight Bahamut in space?
What the?
Or do I go with the Odin fight, who is not gargantuan? He's shrunk down. Clive versus Odin. He has the sword that can cut through creation, and you have to dodge all the attacks. He's slicing all over the arena. Which one would you pick? The answer is none of them and both of them at the same time, because we are going with Ultimaeus, the final boss, because he is it's one of the best bosses. Like, the best thing a final boss can do is, like, he has multiple stages. They're all fun. You fight Ifrit and Dark Ifrit in space, so that's kind of the spectacle and everything like Bahamut had. And then you have the fast, fluid gameplay function. From whenever, like, he's throwing beams all over the arena, and you gotta fight him that way, and then he, like, fuses with himself, like, 13 times or something, and becomes, like... He was already, like, that universe's god, but now he's even, like, gaudier god, and...
Oh, the classic double god.
Yeah, he's just crazy. And then he starts using the icon powers, and then Clive's like, yeah, bitch, I could use them too. So he summons Garuda, Clive summons Garuda. He summons Titan, Clive summons Titan. And it is like, it's not hard, it's just QTEs, but my god, was it so cool. And ultimately, like, culminates in one of the most badass scenes I saw all year, which was Clive throwing his sword like a bullet through Ultima's chest, and then fucking decking him in the mouth to do like 9,999 like million damage. And it was just so funny, like awesome and just badass. So I just finished gushing about whether to pick form versus function, and Spider-Man also had a great scene like that, but it's ultimately more form than function because just the palpable emotions of Spider-Man versus Spider-Man.
Yeah, you missed one of the pillars there for a boss fight. It's the drama.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man had the drama. Honestly, like, the gameplay was just the cherry on top. Like, I was perfectly happy just watching the cutscenes, to be honest. But playing it was the whole other thing.
As soon as we saw the black suit, we knew Miles and Peter were going to have to throw down.
Oh, and they threw down. And they threw down so well. Like, they did it... Oh, Peter was so aggressive with the black suit. He's doing, like, his techniques, but slightly different. And, like... Oh, he didn't necessarily, like, hit you while you were down, but he didn't really, like, relent as much as, like, you would think Spider-Man versus Spider-Man would. Like, he just kept coming at you. And there was a bell, so you had to use that to weaken the symbiote. You could use your Venom Strike powers that seemed to do extra damage to it. It was so awesome. The whole time, Miles is just like, Peter, come on, stop this. You can't, you gotta snap out of it. Like, he's not one to punch him. But, I mean, he has to survive, because Peter's not stopping. The symbiote will not let him. And it was just non-stop hype from beginning to end for the entire fight.
Now, this is a step down from Double God, and it is not fighting your best friend. But it was a very good fight. Octopath Traveler 2 gave us the fight against V-Day. Oh my god, that was such a, like...
It's just,
like,
it's
like
a cool,
he was saying,
like...
It was a cool fight regardless, but the theatrical part of it was what pushed it over the top for me and Daniel.
V-Day the Wicked, the god of darkness, plunges the earth into everlasting darkness.
Yeah, like the lead up was awesome because they went camping. They were just like, yeah, we finished our stuff, we're good, and then the sun set.
And it never
came back up.
It was crazy. Like, you're walking around and it's just dark the whole time. Like, it's so cool. Like, you can't even... For those of you that may not know, Octopath Traveler 2, you have path actions. So you can do something at daytime. You can do something different at nighttime. So you might be able to steal during the day, but you knock someone out at night. And so you can do both whenever you want. You can hit the right trigger and swap between day and night whenever you want. But now you can't.
I forgot about that.
Because it is permanent, everlasting night. And it is so cool. And then you sail out into the ocean and look into the void. And then this man just like, I sacrificed myself to the god of darkness. It's been him working behind the curtain the whole time. And it's crazy that they tied... What? It's not even 8. It's more than that because it's the co-op pass.
It's like 10 stories mixed together, basically.
Like 12 lines all culminate into V-Day, the Wicked, who is just pulling the strings of everybody to make. He feeds on darkness and evil, so he's making everybody be evil. Like he's just like, coup. There's Prince and his brother. I'm gonna turn the brother evil because that's gonna feed me, baby.
Yeah, family rivalry and a civil war all in one move. It's like V-Day is cruel and treacherous, but also insanely powerful.
And we haven't even started talking about the actual fight yet.
Yeah,
the actual fight is insane. It's way more strategy than like the Medusa bot, or anything ever in Octopath took me. Like, it was... I mean, I guess the secret final boss of the first one and the second one is, like, harder. But it's not as cool.
Yeah, it wasn't anywhere near as cool. Because it was just the same one again. And
yeah, but V-Day has, like, his core is locked. But...
Yeah, you can't even hurt it. Like, a lot of bosses do that type of strategy, but this one... It was like, okay, well, I've got my core. Here's a bunch of tentacles that are going to take forever to kill. If you get lucky, maybe you can get 2 at a time. But when you attack certain parts of him, he retaliates.
It's crazy.
And it's awful.
It's so crazy.
And then
like, there's so much going on all at once. Like you fight it with 4 party members, and then he sucks them into the void, and then you got to fight with your 4 backups. So hopefully you've been training them. But then
I had to grind to get my other party ready.
If you train your backups and maybe split up your team to diversify a little bit, you get past the second form, and then it's go time. Now V-Day is like a beautiful man, and he's got his like magic hand and his physical
it's
hand.
Like V-Day like awakened, I guess, or I don't know.
But now you have all 8 party members to play as at one time. It's the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, they're just in a big line. When you do like cure or a buff or something like that, it affects everybody. Yeah. It's awesome.
It was very cool how they did it too. You don't have 8 turns. You still have 4 turns, but you can swap between 2 characters every turn.
Yeah, and that helped a lot because the ability points or whatever it's called, or battle points, they run out. So then you switch to the other side and let the others. They're like, side A is charging up while side B is kicking ass, and it takes a long time, but eventually you get him, and then it's just like, okay, good job, mortals. I'll be back later. You can't kill me. Bye.
And one of the big milestones of an awesome final boss, especially an RPG boss, is kick-ass music. V-Day's got that because he's got opera singers going all over the place. And then second phase, it turns from opera into hard rock, and it is awesome.
We had to end off this list with the King of Evil himself. We're talking about Ganondorf from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And you want to talk about drama? You want to talk about spectacle? You want to talk about a good boss fight? And then a kind of okay boss fight, but the spectacle made it real good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the dive for your girlfriend? Like...
Yeah, every step of this boss fight was great.
It goes literally from the deepest point underground into the sky. Yeah. That's how this boss fight went. You start, and Ganon's a mummy, and he's talking his usual like stuff about like you're not a worthy opponent, and then he drinks a lot of water, and then he's like real buff now.
Dude,
and hot.
Not even that. Before that, you have to get past his army.
Yeah, you have to get past his army.
It's like 20 bokoblins all coming after you, and then it's like 20 moblins, and then Lizalfos, and
several waves. If you hadn't already fought the bosses, you have to fight them down there.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Then like your teammates come in and help you. It's real cool. And then you're fighting man form Ganon, and then it's normal, like it's kind of like a mix of all the damn Phantom Ganons, and I was like, this better not be it, and it was not. It was not. Then he was like straight up. He was like, "I'm the devil," and he turned into the devil.
Yeah, he gets juiced up on his secret stone, turns into Demon King Ganondorf. Second phase starts.
He
gets the title, and then his health bar starts, just like any other boss. But this time, the health bar just keeps going.
Yeah, like across the screen almost. And then he clones himself like a bunch, and then one by one, your friends are coming in to help you fight. And help you fight the 5 Ganon clones or whatever.
Yeah, but now that he's the devil, he has super gloom attacks, so he permanently takes your hearts away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Permanently. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah, it's not gloom hearts. They're just gone. They are completely gone, and then you beat that finally, and he can dodge Flurry Rush.
He dodges Flurry Rush.
You have to Flurry Rush him like twice to be able to hit him at a certain point. It's ridiculous.
He just rips apart every shield you have.
Oh, yeah.
Hylian shield included.
That took like 4 hits.
Yeah.
Hylian shield took like 4 hits, and
I lost all my shields. I was just having to run around and dodge, and just keep eating apples to survive.
And then when you finally beat him, you get a little cutscene, and Ganon's all like, "Damn it, I lost," and he eats the rock.
Verbatim. That is his dialogue.
He's like, dang.
He gives this whole speech, and instead of just swallowing his secret stone, he dramatically rips it out of his head, shoves his fist down his throat, and turns into a giant evil dragon that's way bigger than the other dragons. And then he has Link in his mouth, and a cool part is he looked like Calamity Ganon as he's transforming. Yes. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And he grabs Link in his mouth, flies into the sky, And then Link's just like, "Ah, man," and like I don't remember how he gets out of his mouth.
Just like jokes on you, my girlfriend is also a dragon.
Oh yeah,
and
dragon shows up, and then he roars, and that's when Link falls out.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Ganon roars, and then the dragon Zelda catches you, and if you don't have the Master Sword yet, you get it then, I think. But I think I saw a clip of that. Like if you don't have it, you're just like, oh, now it's mine, and then it's insane. You're riding a dragon, fighting another dragon, and he's shooting fireballs at you, and like it's not hard, but it's so cool. And then you have to like land on him, and it's glooming you the whole time you're on him because he's full of gloom. And then like you have to beat up his eyeball zits, and then and then finally, at the end, Zelda swoops in and like you drop on the secret stone, stab the secret stone, and he straight up nuclear explodes. Like 100% massive explosion that like covers way more ground than you would think. Like if people were there, they are dead. Like massive explosion, and it pops up on the screen. Ganon defeated or whatever, Ganondorf destroyed or whatever. Oh, I love when they do that. And then Rauru and his wife, Sonya. Rauru and Sonya are like, nah, we're ghosts. We're going to turn Zelda back, and here's your arm back, Link.
Yeah.
And they're like, I guess that's our powers now. And then...
we'll turn her back, but we won't stop y'all from falling. Good luck.
Yeah, and then she's falling, and you have to dive, and Link redeems himself because he didn't catch her the first time she fell, but now he catches her. Boom, they land in a lake. Could be, landing in water when you fall from 1,000 miles in the air is fine.
Surface tension's not a thing to worry about.
But they
Neither
land
is falling too deep and hitting the surface of the lake.
They land and they get out, and you get the ending, and it was awesome. The spectacle and the fight itself were just cream of the crop for this year. Everything, like, I didn't dislike one bit of it at all. Like, yeah, the dragon was a little easy, but it was fine. It was fun, and diving through his like late fireballs was real fun. And like, oh my god, defeating Ganondorf finally at the end of that game with all his damn shit talking he did the whole game felt so good. That's why it's our favorite, and it's one of the few bosses that we all three fought. Right. So it got a lot of points.
We all loved it. It was amazing.
And that is why that topped our list was Ganondorf / Draganon from Tears of the Kingdom.
But that is our list. Obviously, there's more bosses we didn't even experience this year, so please let us know what your favorite boss of the year was. Be sure to just stay tuned to Bro Trio for more stuff coming 2024. I don't know if it's quite going to be as jam-packed as 2023, but here's hoping.
I kind of hope not.
We got Rebirth, we got Sandland, like what else could be announced?
Prince of Persia. I mean,
I've been hearing good things about Prince of Persia.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet, but I will.
I'm looking forward to it, and we hope to see you there. And we are finally talking about our last video for 2023, and what better final is than a boss?
Start over, my god.